Now, typically in the morning, you gotta wait at the shanty till 7 o'clock, but at 7, you can start walking your way up the ladder, climbing up the steel. Now, every 2 floors, you gotta plank it off. Then you disconnect the bottom of the mast, and you tie it to the boom on the top of the choking cable. You also get a heavy block on the job. That weighs probably 200, 250 pounds, something like that. Now, I've been working on structural steel since I was 18. I've been on buildings probably 120, 130 feet high. Now, most people are afraid of heights like that, so naturally every iron worker has to have an ego. But, you know, we're doing something that not a whole lot of people are doing. And we get to wear a tool belt. Now, when you're a kid and you get to wear wrenches and screwdrivers and like a holster, man, you're like a cowboy or a sailor. I remember when my dad gave me this tool belt, boy was I excited. Now, if I put a 2x4 on the floor, I couldn't knock you off with a stick. But if it's up 50 feet and a little gust of wind comes and you overreact, you're going to end up falling off. Now, that's why most kids start off as that's why most kids start off when they're young. Because when you're 18 and just out of high school, the kid in front of you walks the beam, naturally, you're going to try to walk the beam too. And iron workers very rarely fall into the hole. That's what we call it. If you fell off the building, you fell in the hole. We talk about that a lot amongst ourselves. You know, you iron work long enough, you are going to get some real scares. I notice myself, I get kind of a copper taste. You know when you were a kid and you put a penny in your mouth, that taste? It's a taste of fear, I guess. But as you get older, you reconcile yourself to the fact that it's just easier to drop down and sort of coon across the beam. It's easier, but you lose all the hair on the inside of your legs. You can always tell an iron worker because they don't have any hair on the inside of their legs. And another bad thing up here, we don't got outhouses or nothing like that, so of course everybody's drunk from the night before, and these guys just feel the need to expel themselves down the columns. Now, there's one thing wrong with that. Eventually somebody's going to have to work down there. And the worst thing in the world would have to be to burn something. Can you imagine that? That'd be like cooking a toilet. But I always knew I was going to be an iron worker. My father was an iron worker. My brothers were both iron workers, so naturally I was going to be an iron worker too. My father. My father was really disappointed I didn't go to college. We had this college boy at work this summer. He saw this book in my tool belt and he says to me, "You read?" Now that's the kind of non-recognition you can get from people. To say a man is just a laborer, a woman is just a housewife. Now that kind of thing can get to you sometimes. But sometimes, some mornings, I like to just kind of sit here and look out on the horizon for a building that I worked on. Say that building over there. And I can see a big fancy car pull into the parking garage that I built. And I know some guy from the burbs is driving it. And I know he ain't thinking about me, but you know what? I'm thinking about him. Driving in his big fancy car with his air conditioning, going to his big fancy office with air conditioning. And he's just sitting back there, enjoying the ride.
So where the heck is that parking lot attendant?
I don't know where he is. He does this every morning.
I think he likes to take the cars up there, drive them around, and listen to the radio.
Yeah, not only that. Once he's got your car, you never know what he's going to do with it once he's got it.
I've been parking cars for 32 years. In my younger days, I was the best. I could drive any car like a baby, like a woman, change your baby's diapers. I still get customers say, "Wow, you sure can drive. How long you been doing it?" I say, "I started when I'm 16 and I'm still doing it. All my day is cars. All my waking hours is cars. I drive my car to work, and when I get here, it's the customer's car. Then I drive home at night. But when I go out, my wife drives." Now, when you're parking cars here, you're working for tips, so you get to know the types. Now, the working man, he's the best tipper. He works all day, but he'll give you 2 greenbacks. Then you'll get some people driving a big Cadillac. You know what they'll give you? A measly quarter. Then you got our regular customers. They tip once a week. We give them what we call soigné service. Of course, those who don't tip, we still got to give them service, but it ain't soigné.